Hello, everyone. Welcome to our cooking demo, Cougar Welcome Voices. I know we're in for a treat this evening, and I just want to say welcome to all of you. We're still gonna maybe wait for 30 more seconds before we get started because there are a lot of people trying to get into the session, so we're gonna give them enough time. But on behalf of Cougar Welcome Voices team, we are very happy that you're here this evening. And all of you, by participating this afternoon, you will get a link where you will be able to get a gift card so you can buy the ingredients. So after the demo, you get to try this in the comfort of your own home. So Ali is going to be putting some information on the chat in a few minutes. Before we get started, we just also want to make an announcement that there is basic needs task force, and if you are in need of food, we are going to be putting in the chat some resources for you. So Ali will be sharing a link where if you need to get more information on our basic needs task force, you can get that information. There is also throughout the session, we're going to be putting some announcements in there of activities coming up. So please, for example, there is going to be a photo contest for faculty and staff. So we'll be putting that information on the chat as well. So with that, and I want to make sure that Elisabeth is going to have enough time for her demo. I want to give an introduction of Elisabeth. So Elisabeth, as you probably know, she's an instructor here at Cuesta. She's a registered dietitian and a nutrition instructor here at Cuesta in the Culinary Arts department. And she has a passion for food. She's a Southern California native, and she was groomed as a child for her current role as an educator. When she was little, she was inquisitive and in awe at even the smallest of creatures and learned the delicate balance of our coexistence with nature. At a young age, Elisabeth experienced plant-based foods and was influenced by a variety of cultures. She is exceptional in her teaching and outreach because she acknowledged the sensitivity that cultures have with food and finds creative ways to both respect and keep the cultural practices alive through easy plant-based modifications. So without further ado, please help me in welcoming Elisabeth.
Hey everyone. Thank you, Glenda. That's such a nice introduction. And so I'm Elisabeth Deswart, and I teach nutrition and culinary arts at Cuesta College. This is my kitchen assistant and a multi-poo. So she'll be hovering in the wings just in case I need her. And so tonight we're going to make spicy cauliflower wings, cauliflower nuggets. And so I'm so excited that you're here today. I have made these with people of all different ages, and it's definitely a crowd pleaser. It's party food. It's one of my favorite things to bring to a party, and it's also something that is really fast and easy that I can make, you know, for a dinner or for a snack. So, but first I just wanted to mention that I am, if you decide that you want to do more of this, like actually get more involved and start making these recipes on your own, I'm teaching many classes in the spring, one of which is plant-based nutrition, which is a brand new course and part of our sustainability plant-based program, which includes the agricultural department. Dean Harrell is here representing. And so in that course, you get to learn all about the air frying that we're using today. And then in our Cuisines of the World course, we actually travel around the world tasting, you know, preparing and tasting recipes from longevity regions where people live with vitality and longevity to over 100 years old. And we have their actual recipes. And so that can include like Sardinia, Italy, the Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica, the Rara Muri of, Chihuahua, Mexico, who are the foot runners that can run like marathons with ease. And we're also going to go to Okinawa, Japan. And we actually, so the lecture part is online and the lab is face-to-face. So this is the first time that we're being able to resume our face-to-face labs where you get to actually make the food and enjoy it in a commercial kitchen, which is located right next to the SLO Cuesta campus. So I hope you can join us for that. So let's get started. So you'll get this recipe shared with you for attending, and it includes a shopping list. The $25 grocery card that you receive in attending will actually purchase all the ingredients needed for this dish. And so here I went, my closest market for the grocery cart is Vons. And so they have a line of organics, which I really love. And I also love this bread. So this is going to be our breadcrumbs. You could buy organic panko breadcrumbs, which they have there, but this is a great option as well. And so these are both on the shopping list that you'll receive. But this is a Ezekiel bread, and it contains not only whole sprouted grains, but also sprouted legumes and seeds. And it's kind of like all that you need in one bread. It's probably one of the most nourishing breads you can buy. It's in the freezer, and then you just refresh it by toasting it or putting it in the steamer for a minute. And then we're making our batter with this organic flour. Why organic? I buy organic because it means that they haven't added, you could describe it as weed killer. They like to spray it on grains and beans and lentils to help dry it in the field. And that leads to a high amount of weed killer in our food. So if it's organic, then it doesn't have that. And so this is a stone ground whole wheat flour, and you can buy this at Vons.
Is it gluten-free?
The whole wheat flour is not gluten-free, but there are so many whole grain flours out there now, all of which, Vons carries. They carry Bob's Red Mill brand. So some flours that I really like that are gluten-free are millet. And also you could do corn flour. That would be a really delicious one. You can kind of mix gluten-free flours too, and they'll have different properties. Like you can also get oat flour. That's a great one too. Oat flour is more sticky. Millet flour and corn flour are more sort of like dry. Okay. So it's like they don't absorb the water and become as like coaty. Right. So by mixing, like say oat and corn or teff and corn, then you would get sort of like a nice coating on your cauliflower nugget. And then an optional ingredient, I like spicy food. I don't know about you, but this is one of my favorite sauces. And it's mainly just made with vinegar and red peppers, red chilies. And the other ingredients are pretty tiny that are in it. So it's a pretty delicious and flavorful and healthy sauce that you can use to season your food. And I would liken it to the flavor of Flaming Cheetos. So that's a fun one. And that's so you can, that's an optional glaze you put on your nuggets. You can also use salt. I'm a big salt fan. Some of us need to avoid salt and you can leave it out. And then they have organics brand cauliflower. They have like a whole organic section. And so this is our main ingredient. Chicken is probably one of the most neutral meats. And so we're replacing the chicken in this recipe with also a really neutral vegetable, which is cauliflower. And so why am I replacing the chicken, you might ask? Why cauliflower? Well, I want to share with you for a moment something called the healthful plate. And so if we look at longevity regions around the world who are living with vitality and for long periods of time, they eat all the time in this way. And so half of the plate are non-starchy fruits and vegetables, as many colors as you can. And then, so it could be either or all of the above. And then the other half of our plate are starchy staples like beans, lentils, and peas, potatoes, sweet potatoes, green plantains or green bananas, cassava, pumpkins, which is great for right now. All the pumpkins are at the farmers markets, and whole grains. So we have the cauliflower as our vegetable part, and then we have the whole grain breading as the other half of our plate. And then we have a garnish of nuts, seeds, olives, avocado, cacao, coconut. These are all sort of like higher calorie foods that are great for growing bodies, people who want to build or kids who are still growing. And then this is also like where you might put animal products if you wanted to have animal products, like, and so it's a shift in percentages. So where in the like the classic American diet, the meat sort of would dominate the plate. But if we look at longevity regions where people are really living to the fullest, and then we see the meat more as like a garnish or a seasoning. And so the idea is to have 80% or more of what we eat, whole plants, and as we find them in nature. Okay. So the first thing we do is we're going to measure out our flour. And so I'll measure out a cup of this whole wheat flour into a bowl. And then I will add enough water. You know, depending on the grain that you use, some grains absorb more water than others. If you're using a gluten-free grain, you probably want to add the flour in the water and leave yourself a little bit of time to let it start soaking up the water. It usually takes a little longer than, say, a glutinous flour. So I would pour in, start with 2/3 of a cup, just like in the recipe, and then keep adding until it like is a glazing texture. So you can see how it's coating the spoon. That's the texture we want. And this is really the secret to air frying or like baking food without oil. So if the food has like a skin on it already, we can put it in the oven on a baking sheet intact, and that skin, that intact skin, will seal in the moisture so it won't dry out. And it'll roast really beautifully in the oven without any oil. So we can do that with like,
what are we making?
Oh, what's that?
What's the recipe?
Oh, we're making cauliflower nuggets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, spicy cauliflower nuggets. So, and that's using the cooking technique of air frying. And so you can also, air frying just means, what is an air fryer? Basically, it's just a convection oven, an oven that blows the hot air and circulates it. And so some of us like actually might already have a convection oven and not even know it, have an air fryer. So there might be a fan switch on your oven. So just by turning on that fan switch, you transform your oven into an air fryer. But you can just quote unquote air fry in your regular oven. The secret is putting it on like a higher temperature so that the outside gets crispy and the inside stays soft. So if you want, you can roast whole chilies that way. And you could also, if you want to cut your vegetable, then you just seal it either in a batter like this, like we're going to do with our cauliflower nuggets. Or you could, if you didn't want to have a batter on it, if you didn't want to bother with the breading, you could just glaze it with a sauce like this like hot wing sauce and skip the breading altogether for a lighter meal. And so, with the gift card, you'll be able to purchase at least one sauce. And so you could also choose a barbecue sauce if you don't want it to be spicy, or just like leave them plain and have a dipping sauce. So now that I have my batter.
The sauce is $25?
All of the ingredients, you can purchase them for the nuggets for only $25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And depending on, I give you a couple choices for different ingredients. And so some of them are less expensive than others. So you might actually end up with some leftover funds if you
Budget.
Comparison shop. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So here we have, so I just I cut my cauliflower into florets, and I just dip my floret in the batter. And I just want to coat it. And this is sort of like my glue that sticks on my breadcrumbs. So I just made breadcrumbs by putting the slices of bread in my blender. You could also just take a knife and sort of mince it up or crumble it in your fingers, or you can buy pre-made panko organic breadcrumbs at Bonds. So then I just dip it in my crumbs. You could also use cracker crumbs if you want. Bread or crackers work great. And then it's ready to go on my baking sheet. So for air fryers, if you want to like really get your food super crispy, it's great to have a baking sheet that's kind of like a rack. So maybe you have a cooling rack. You can actually use that to cook your food on, and it allows the air to circulate more around it. For this food demo, I'm using parchment paper so that it doesn't, so that crumbs don't end up all over my carpet. But you don't have to use the parchment if you don't want to. Parchment is a great way to keep things from sticking to pans as well. So I'll come over here to my oven. And you can make this with just a regular oven. You could make these in a toaster oven if you wanted to. So I'll put it in. And what I want to do at this stage is I want that breading to set. So I'm going to leave it in here long enough. In a conventional oven, it would be 400, which is kind of like crispy on the outside, steamy and soft on the inside. In a convection oven, you don't need it to be as high, so it only needs to be like 375 for a convection or an air fryer. And that's in the instructions. So then, after it bakes, you can see that they're browned and crispy. And this is when you can decide, okay, I'm ready to just eat it. Maybe you can't wait because it smells so good. Or if you like it spicy like me, then you can dip it in the hot wing sauce. So you just take your nugget and make sure it's well dipped in the sauce. And you put it back on the baking sheet. And you put it back in the oven. And you bake it until the breading becomes crispy and lightly browned again. And so that'll be a little while. It'll be longer than it took it the first time because of the moisture of the sauce. And then, dun, 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 you have delicious, spicy cauliflower nuggets. And they're all entirely whole plant. You can feel really good about eating them. They're incredibly nourishing. The whole family likes them. You can even
How many calories?
that's a good question. I haven't calculated the calories, and I'm actually not a calorie counter.
Okay, so
And
I like how you garnished it with the lettuce. That looks very elegant. Just the lettuce, you know, nice.
oh, thank you. Traditionally it might be like carrot sticks and celery sticks if it's for the game, like the big game.
Yeah.
So you can just choose I like to have a little fresh with my cooked, I feel like it gives me more energy that way.
Yeah.
So I like a little lettuce or celery or something with the cooked cauliflower. And then I made a homemade barbecue sauce, which I can show you how I make. It's super easy.
Wow.
But that's my favorite sauce to go with the crispy cauliflower nuggets. So there you have it. I hope that you have fun making this dish and that you enjoy it and share it with your family. And if you don't put the hot sauce on, you can even feed it to your assistant cook your multi-poo. Dog friendly. So, what questions do you have?
I'd like to say something, Elizabeth. This is Angie.
Hey, Angie.
Hey, Angie.
I had the buffalo wings, the cauliflower buffalo wings, when I was in the culinary class, and they were delicious. But one of the classmates, she fried them.
Oh.
And like you said, you're not missing anything by putting them in the air fryer. So I'm gonna try that one. I bet you it's delicious.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Angie. We're going back to face, and I hope to see you more in the future.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to cook.
Me too, Angie.
I'm ready to eat.
That's right, me too.
How do you make your barbecue sauce?
Oh yes, let's talk about that. So I have the ingredients here. So the base is either, you can use tomato paste, or I really love this unsweetened ketchup. And so it's funny, like when I grew up, it didn't even register as sweet to me like normal Heinz ketchup, but now it's like too sweet. And so I really love that they're now creating like condiments that don't have all the sugar in them. So, but you could also use just tomato paste if you have that, or tomato sauce. And so this is what you start with. And then,
Can you get that online? I'm sorry.
oh yeah, this is available at Vaughn's. It's available at a lot of markets now, and also most health food stores. There is also a spicy flavor, which I also really like. It's like seasoned with jalapenos. And then to that, I add coconut aminos. And so coconut aminos have a little bit of sweetness. They kind of a little bit molassesy. And they also have they're a little bit like soy sauce. So they have a little salty umami flavor, which is just perfect for a barbecue sauce. It almost has like a little bit of smokiness too. And so you get the salt and the sweet and the smoke all in one. This is just a great sauce if you're also making a stir fry. And then if you're using tomato paste, you'll want to add a little vinegar. I like organic apple cider, also at Vaughn's. And then I like to really boost the umami, and I love salt. So I like to add a little bit of soy sauce or tamari. This is my absolute favorite tamari right now. And it's thick, it's glossy, it just coats your food, and it's really flavorful. It's a nice soup base too. And then you can add fresh garlic and onion, but there's something about the powder, the garlic and onion powder, the dried taste, it kind of emphasizes the umami too. So this is often what I add. It's also really easy. And then paprika, which is like a mild red chili. So you'll want to add some kind of red chili to it. And I usually add paprika so that I can add a lot of it and it doesn't get too spicy. And then just a little turn of black pepper in there. And that rounds it out. And I just taste it till it tastes just how I like it. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of the hot sauce. And I mean, there's all different kinds of chilies, really. You could just look in your cupboard and see what you have. You might have red pepper flakes. A really fun one, if you like smoky barbecue sauce, is chipotle powder. One of my absolute favorite red chilies is New Mexico red chili.
Is it hot or spicy?
This one it's pretty mild, the New Mexico. And if you want a spicier one, there's guajillo.
Do you use chile poblano?
And cayenne. Oh, I love poblanos.
My mom used to use it a lot. And it's tasty. I mean, it's very tasty. It's amazing what she used to make it. I think she made it from scratch, but you can actually buy it. I don't even know if it's still around. Can you still buy it?
I haven't bought dried poblanos. I love fresh, and that's a really good point that you bring up, that you could use fresh roasted chilies for this too, and like that would make a really amazing barbecue sauce. Do you want to share about your mother's, what she does with poblanos?
She used to make a mole out of it.
Ooh.
Is how she do it?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
Okay, the poblano, the powder form is
Yeah.
pasilla. Chile pasilla.
Oh, yes.
If you Google, well, I always remember what Elisabeth said. Always Google Scholar, because what's on the Google doesn't mean it's true.
So you said the poblano. I'm sorry. You said the poblano. Did it change the name or something?
No, it just, when they put it to powder form, or dry it, it's called pasilla.
Okay, well, it used to be like a little rectangle. It used to be in a rectangle little container. I don't know, maybe 5 inches in a powder form.
Yeah, and it was
That's probably the paste. Because in a lot of the Mexican dishes that I make, we use poblano or pasilla, but especially when you're making mole, it's the chili is made into a paste with different ingredients.
Yes. For mole,
So-
yeah. It's real rich too.
Very.
Yeah, but if you Google all the different chilies and how the dried chilies, it's amazing all the different chilies there are, and to remember them all is crazy.
Thank you for the suggestion. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but I was shocked. I said, what? I mean, poblano is pasilla? What? I couldn't believe it. That was amazing to me, because if you use pasilla powder, whoo, is it strong. Also, poblano dried pasilla is very strong. And when you Google, it tells you the smokiness, the mild. It's amazing.
Well, thank you so much for that. And it sounds like Elizabeth's recipes are on the spicy side because she mentioned jalapeno.
Oh yeah, because I was born making beans and rice and enchiladas and tamales, all that bad stuff. Yeah, it's amazing. But like Elizabeth said, if we can just take out the meat and use other things, other products instead of meat,
Yeah.
you're not going to miss the meat. I'll tell you that. With the flavor, especially with the dried chilies and all that, it's nothing but flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting back into the culinary and cooking. It's amazing.
I'm so glad.
So Elizabeth, do you only use, because I'm get in the habit of using like frozen vegetables.
Yeah.
So if I were to buy frozen like cauliflower bits, will that work?
Absolutely. You could use frozen florets, and yeah, you just take them out of the freezer and do the breading. Or like people were saying, you could make you could roast, chilies and use that as a coating for your cauliflower, and that would seal it in too, if you want to make a nugget like that as well.
Would I have to, because if I use the air fryer, would I have to defrost the florets first, or you think it would stick easier?
I don't think you need to. And when it's frozen, it'll help the breading adhere, I think.
No, actually, I have the same air fryer, and if you try to defrost it, you're just gonna make it watery and bog it down. Matter of fact, I'll do bone-in chicken thighs frozen and just put a bunch of powder on them and spices, skin side down for about 15 minutes, and then flip them over for about another 15 minutes, and you're unless you want the skin super crispy, you have frozen chicken thighs ready in 30 to 40 minutes.
Wow.
Wow.
Does anyone else want to share some air fryer or some roasting, like oil-free roasting wisdom?
I'm glad that you talked about the air fryer, because I don't have one. I do want to get one. My girls love to cook, and I do want to get one. I just didn't think I'd use it as much, just because I don't, I don't know. It's just different in your oven, and I'll have a crock pot. I'll do prime rib in the oven. I'll do a turkey with a roaster. I'll do a leg of lamb. You put in the oven. Wow. Those kinds of, I really could cook some meat, filet mignon, all that. But my son wanted an indoor grill, and I bought it for him. And he cooks elk and steaks and sirloins and all that. And I was thinking of going that route. I don't know if that one cooks bigger pieces of meat, but about the fryer, all I've seen is just outside of the box is the French fries. I don't see a lot of meat in that. That's why I think I'm reluctant. Am I just looking at on the outside and just?
Well, you can I mean, an air fryer is just an oven that circulates air. And
Mhm.
so you can really use just your own oven that you have at home
Yeah.
and on a high heat. And
Okay.
what helps the food crisp is using baking sheets that are wire.
Oh,
Mhm.
So
okay.
whenever food is touching itself or another piece of food or the baking sheet, then that part doesn't get as crispy sometimes. And so
Okay.
one of the real keys is to making sure that each piece is by itself and it has some room around it. And
Like a cookie sheet. Like a cookie sheet.
absolutely, yeah, and you can line it with parchment so that you can prevent sticking. I like to use unbleached.
Mhm.
So this is a really handy parchment, and you get a big roll and it lasts a really long time.
I love those. I love those. Now, is yours a small one or is it medium? Because I've looked at small and medium. Is yours a medium one?
This air fryer?
Yeah, is that 4-quart?
Oh, I don't know the exact volume.
Okay.
I like this one because it has racks on it. And
Okay.
I'm not such a fan of the basket because there's only so much you can cook in it at a time.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's one of the reasons I looked at it. I saw a basket and I just kind of went, so I didn't know all the parameters and very in depth. So I think this was great to take your class right now because I get a little bit more knowledge.
Thanks. Yeah. And yeah, in my courses you learn all about oil-free cooking and why no oil. It's interesting, like when we discovered the first longevity region, the first blue zone,
Yeah.
and the second one, they were both like in the Mediterranean region. It was Icaria, Greece, it was Sardinia, Italy, and one of their main crops is olives. And in the last few thousand years, like they've started like pressing the olives and making oil with them, and they use a lot of oil. And so they initially from that thought that was one of the secrets to this. But then we started finding more longevity regions and more blue zones, and we started finding what they shared, and it wasn't oil. And they started doing case controlled studies where they were the only thing between the difference between the control group and the experimental group was oil and no oil. They isolated it in that way. They discovered that it was actually inflammatory. And so it, we hear that word a lot, inflammation. People are like scared of inflammation. But really, I mean, it's an overactiveness of the immune system, and that affects our entire bodies. And it affects, whether we develop autoimmune diseases, cancer. It is directly related to the pain, any pain that we experience in our body. It can be a limiting factor as an athlete because it can lead to tendonitis and constrain like how much we can lift. So, that's something we really want to watch out for. The fats in our food are basically like one of the huge regulators of our immune system. And so we don't want to eat foods that are refined and not in their natural state in big amounts, because then it can throw our bodies out of balance. So it's all about balance. A little bit of oil now and then is fine, like some sesame oil on a slaw, or maybe like we're having tamales for the holidays, and we, it's part of our tradition, to have them occasionally and in small amounts is fine. But for every day, it can kind of like deplete our energy. It can exacerbate our pain. And, you know, when you start just learning these little simple techniques to cook without it, it's amazing like how much energy and lightness people feel. So I really invite you to try it. Yeah, I mean, basically it just makes our food shiny and it doesn't really add that much to it. So yeah.
That's funny you should talk about the tamales. I just bought some on Sunday when that's what we had. And I used to make them from scratch. It's amazing. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. And people love to, they love to talk to you when you can make all those things that take a while to make. But it's a skill and there's dedication involved.
Hey, Elizabeth, I think Gregory has his hand up.
Oh, Gregory, great, yes.
Hi, Elizabeth. How you doing? Hey, we can make those with broccoli too, can we? Can we do broccoli as well?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
If someone doesn't like.
The flowers on the broccoli are not as tight, and so the batters, if it's not a thick batter, it can kind of like seep in between the flowers, and sometimes that'll make a soggy nugget.
Okay.
So I recommend, like, if you're doing broccoli, a quick dip.
Okay.
Make sure you don't over batter it.
Okay.
And yeah, just enough so that the breadcrumbs will stick. And the breadcrumbs are really what give it that crunch.
Okay.
Yeah. Broccoli would be a great choice to put inside.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
You could also do eggplant. You could do mushrooms.
All of it. Yes. We're all cooks on here.
Yeah. Yeah. What other things do people like to eat in batter?
Buffalo sauce would sound good with that.
Yeah. Definitely.
How about chile rellenos?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's just cheese. You can use plant-based. You can use plant-based cheese, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I tried plant-based cheese. It was okay.
If you want to do eggplant and do like kind of like an Italian inspired theme, this is my absolute favorite tomato sauce of all time. I'm always trying jarred tomato sauces. Some tomato sauces have too many herbs in them.
Yeah.
But this is like, it's just like ringing like pure bright tomato. So I use it in chili sauces. I like in my enchilada sauce. I use it in my, like, with my spaghetti. I dump one of these in my pot of soup. I dip my battered eggplant in it, like eggplant parmesan. So, specifically the arrabbiata flavor it has a little kick to it.
Do you buy that at Trader Joe's or Vaughn's?
Oh, that's at Vaughn's.
Okay.
And it's often on sale, so sometimes it'll be as low as $2.50 a jar. And let's see.
Well, Elizabeth, you can fry tofu.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite things, are like tofu nuggets. Absolutely. And you could even do like an orange sauce on it.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good.
You could do a glaze. You could dip them in the orange sauce or like a teriyaki sauce.
And then if you're feeling really adventurous margarita, they have a pizza stone that actually fits that oven. And they have a kebab kit that comes with it. So you can do shish kebabs, and a small Cornish game hen will fit and rotate in there as a little rotisserie if you want to do a little bit more protein.
Cool. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Elizabeth, thank you for coming out tonight and sharing your wonderful recipe with all the students. We're in the last few minutes of our session tonight, so we just wanted to publicly thank you for
Thank
once
you
again
very
coming out and sharing the recipe to the students and to the faculty and staff that are also in our Zoom today.
Yeah, Elizabeth, very knowledgeable. Thank you so much
Thank
for the great
you.
recipe and the ideas.
Fun. Have fun in the kitchen.
All right,
Thank you, Jody.
Yes, good luck. Check it out. There's a lot of fun stuff.
Okay.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Will,
Nice
will you
to
be
Bye,
meet
Elizabeth.
putting the barbecue recipe in there?
Bye,
Yes,
Rosa.
Oh, I could put that together for you. It's all by taste. I don't measure.
Mm.
Okay, but I would appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I will. Thanks for coming.
Just one last question. Nutrition, you're taking it, you're offering a nutrition class next semester?
Let me put that up again.
Okay.
My last name is Deswart, and so you can actually search on Class Finder by instructors' last names if you go to the advanced search function.
Okay.
And so these are classes I'm teaching in the spring.
Mm. Whoa.
Okay.
So I'd love to have you join me, and we can learn more about all of these wonderful things. And
Are any of those available for distance learning, or are they on site?
most of these are distance learning. And so the only one that's on site is the Culinary 243 lab. And that meets right next door to the SLO Cuesta campus.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
And do each one of those go towards like a higher or a degree more than the originally culinary certificate?
Oh, yes. Angie, you can speak to that actually, if you want.
Oh, yes. My major is nutrition, and it goes with the health and nutrition. It's amazing, the whole program.
Absolutely. Yes, you can expand it. We have a degree. where
Yes.
You can mix culinary and nutrition together. And then we have the new sustainable plant-based program where you would take sustainable agriculture and also gardening, and then
That's what I'm taking.
and plant-based culinary.
Elizabeth, you're getting a lot of thanks in the chat because we're sending it directly to either myself or Ali or Glenda. So a lot of thanks is coming through the chat to you. So just so you know, that's from students. So let everyone know for the gift for the Vaughn's card, it may take a few days. So don't be surprised if you don't get it right away. It will take me, because I'm the one that has to do that. So it will take me some time. There's quite a few people that have submitted the request, and it does take me a little bit of time to get all that information together and then send you out the e-card. So it may not even be until Monday. So I'll try and get it before then, but if I can't, don't be surprised if it takes a few days for me to get those out.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you. Do you have any more upcoming events planned for?
We do. For Cougar Voices?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Ali, do you want to share that, or do you have that information?
Yeah, I
available?
can share that in the chat. I can say verbally too. So it's on December 1st, and it's from 5 to 6 p.m. And actually Cuesta Health Center is facilitating that. So they're doing things about meditation, how to cope with stress, to sort of prepare students for finals. So yeah, I'll find the information on that and I'll put it in the chat. It's the same link that we use for this event. We use the same link for every Cougar Voices event for each semester, if that makes any sense.
And you'll send it on the email too?
Yeah, you'll get it
like
like
this.
Totally. Yeah. So there's
Okay.
a student newsletter that goes out every week, and
Okay.
we include the Cougar Voices events on that.
Okay.
Oh,
So matter of fact, the Chumash event that's coming up, I think on the 15th is going to be on this same link as well.
No, that's a different link,
That's a different-
actually, because it's
okay.
not a Cougar Voices event. That's like a cultural center event. And so
Oh,
that's a
gotcha.
different link.
Okay.
Sure
Mhm.
about that, because I really hope that people can attend. I know I am really looking forward to attending this. The Indigenous students are going to be
Mhm.
demoing like food creation. Will you
Right.
talk more about that, please?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we have 2 Indigenous students who are going to be showing like the harvesting and preparation of 2 plants from Chumash and the Salinan tribe. And so they'll be focusing on prickly pear and elderberry. And that is on Monday the 15th in the evening from 5 to 6. And if you go to the Cuesta events calendar, all these events are actually on there as well. So if you just go to the Cuesta website and you could just put into the search bar events calendar and you'd be able to find it. And then you could just scroll in by month and date and find what events are available.
I have a question on the December 1 meditation. Is that going to be recorded? Or we can go back to it and listen to it? Or is it just a one-shot time where we listen to it?
You know, that's a good question. I'd have to check in with the health center about whether or not they want us to record it, but I kind of imagine they don't mind. I'm assuming that would be okay.
We will check with the presenters.
Yeah.
We did tonight with Elizabeth just to make sure. And so we'll check with the presenters. We have a team meeting coming up with Cougar Voices team. So we'll chat with the presenters and see. I know Cougar has their hand up. So Cougar Reed, do you have a question?
Yes, there was an event about a planting of some sort, and it was to 5. Is that on a Zoom or is that in person? I don't.
Referring to the one on the 15th. Is that the one we were just discussing?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's going to be on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, the Native American Heritage Month event?
Yes.
That is via Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
What they've done is they've pre-recorded like the actual harvesting part so that they like actually went out and harvested, recorded it so that they could play that during the event and show you what they did.
Okay, thank you.
For asking about that.
Any other questions? We do have our monthly food bank distribution is next Tuesday from 3 to 5 on both the San Luis Obispo campus and North County campus. So we partner with the food bank. So we have free food bank distribution every month, every third Tuesday. So it's going to be the 16th of November. We'll have free food. Usually we do fresh produce, a bag of fresh produce, dry goods, and usually a frozen protein as well.
You can actually get a lot of ingredients for the nuggets at the food bank distribution. You get the oats for the flour. You get bread for the breadcrumbs. You get some kind of vegetable you could bread.
We usually get quite a bit of produce. It's all local produce, so it's usually pretty good stuff that they have in the bags. It's all whatever seasonal at the time. So I don't know what's going to be in the bag next week. I'm trying to think last month. I don't remember what it was last month, Ellie. Do you remember what we had in there? We have
Which bag are you talking about? Like the
produce. Usually it's carrot. We'll usually have carrots, potatoes, onions.
Oh yeah, there's always like spinach, lettuce, things like that.
We've had kale,
is it one bag or 2 bags?
We usually have 1 bag, but depending on if we have stuff left over, then if we have, say you come around 4:30 and we have quite a bit left over, then we'll give you 2 bags. So it just depends. Some months we run out and some months we don't.
Okay,
so
great. Thank you.
Depends on what we have available.
Great.
And then in December, it's going to be actually the first Tuesday, December. I think it's the 7th because of finals. But we send out emails. You'll get an email reminder the week before and the day after food bank. So you'll get a separate email. You should have got one probably a day ago saying next week is food bank, and then you'll get one the morning of as well, just as a reminder.
So on the 7th, it's also 3 to 5?
Yes, we always do 3 to 5 on both locations.
Okay.
San Luis and North County. There was a question about what do you need to show. You don't have to show anything. You self-certify based on income, and so we usually have information out there. We do a drive-through style, so we will ask for your name though and number of people in household. We don't ask for anything else, so you don't have to show us any ID. You don't have to show us anything, and it's open to the community, not just students. So this is a community food bank. So if your neighbors want to come out or other people that live in your household, they don't have to be Cuesta students in order to receive.
Yeah, it's really so easy, so convenient.
Yeah, they usually do a drive-through style, so you don't even have to get out of your car. You can drive up and then tell them, fill out that information, and then they'll just put it in the car for you. So it's that easy.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, so there's no other questions. We're going to sign off tonight. Again, thank you, Elizabeth, for coming out. Thank you for the Cougar Voices team for attending, and I saw a few faculty and staff as well here to support, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Martha. Any other questions? I know there's a few last bit of people before, and for the team, we'll just talk real quick at the end.